Hi, I'm Joe Wilkins, and this is Catching Skills and Drills Basics.
Easy signs. Correct. Go straight into the glove. Separate. Well, the next thing I want to talk to you about is the transfer and throw. When I transfer and throw the ball, I don't want to think about catching the ball. When I think about catching the ball, I think about extension. What I want to think about is receiving the ball. Alligator arm. You don't want to extend this elbow to catch the ball when a runner's stealing a base. You want to catch that ball as deep as possible so that glove can start to turn towards the hand. Now, after we get that glove to turn the ball towards the hand, I want to grab the ball out of the glove. I don't want to flip. You see what happens? I do not want to flip the ball. I want to transfer that ball to the hand and separate. I want to bring the elbow back right when I get that ball in my hand, and I want to separate the glove to get extension and reach so I can have something to pull with. The mindset here is bow and arrow. Now, some of the problems you'll see with young players is they'll take the ball out of the glove and start to either drop or extend back. The thing I want to really focus on is keeping this elbow, this throwing elbow, less than 90 degrees. Once you get this throwing elbow past 90 degrees, that's what we call extension. You want to keep this elbow inside 90 degrees. Elbow goes back first, ball comes around the ear, and the only time this elbow actually extends is out in front. That's how we stay short, that's how we stay quick, that's how we store that energy to release it on the finish. Now that we've talked about the transfer path and everything with the upper body, I want to focus on the lower half and the feet. If I'm throwing to second base, I want to start out by drawing myself a line from the back corner of the plate straight back. This is going to help me line my feet up to second base so that I'm not throwing with an open stance and not throwing with a closed stance. I want to focus on keeping my weight back. I want to focus on my knee being in front of my foot, the weight on my foot being on the inside of the foot, and being in a good power position to throw. Now we can stop right here, we can check ourselves and make sure we're in that good power position. Now that we've talked about the upper half and the lower half in the transfer and throw, let's talk about the timing between the two. When I transfer the ball to this hand, I want it to happen before I shuffle this first foot. The more time I have with the ball, the better grip I'm going to get and the more accurate I'm going to be. If I wait until this foot hits and then rush my transfer, then I'm going to bobble, then I'm going to have a bad grip, then I'm going to make a bad throw. If I get that ball to the hand before that right foot hits the ground, then I'm going to be in a better position to throw the ball, make a better accurate throw, and make a harder throw. Here's how it looks. One last point I want to touch on in the transfer and throw, and I get asked this all the time, is how far do I gain ground towards second base when I throw? The golden rule I like to use is if I dropped a string from my chin in my stance to the ground and drew a dot right here in front, then that's where I want to gain ground with my right foot on the shuffle. Now obviously different pitches will take me in different spots, but that's just the golden rule for if the ball is right here. I want my foot to land right on that dot, and then I shuffle my feet towards where I'm going. Okay, now I'd like to talk a little bit about the throw to third base. The transfer and the footwork and the timing of that are all the same as second base. The only difference is the direction. Obviously, if I have a right-handed hitter in the box, I'm going to have to work around that hitter. What I want to do is go behind that hitter unless the throw takes my momentum out and around. So even if the throw is a little bit this way, I still want to come around the right-handed hitter to throw to third base. If the throw takes my momentum out in the other batter's box, then I want to step and throw in front of the right-handed hitter. Now let's talk about picking the runner off at first base. There's two different ways we can do this. We can either do this from our feet and shuffle, turn our hips, get directed towards first base, or we could drive the knee across and throw from a knee. Either way, in throwing the ball to first base and picking guys off, we have to catch and really get our shoulders turned so that we can get our hips turned as well. Whether it be from a knee or from the feet, we really have to drive this side across so that we can square our shoulders to the direction that we're throwing. And now that we've talked about some of the transfer and throwing techniques, now I want to give you some of the drills that will make you more accurate, more consistent, and give you a lot more arm strength. Now the first drill I want to talk about, and it's the most simple drill we'll do, is the transfer and separate drill. What I want to do is go in with my index finger and my middle finger on top and separate. I don't want to turn that hand over and separate out like this because I'll get that little loop. What I want to do is stay more direct, so I go straight into the glove and separate. Notice my elbows are down. What that's going to do in the whole scheme of things is keep my butt down. If my elbows get up like this, my butt comes up and I get out in front of my hands. If I keep my elbows down and transfer the right way, my butt will stay down and I'll have a low center of gravity through the ball. So the drill, to make it simple, is just working on the hands transferring. Now the next drill I want to do is basically the same as the transfer and separate, but I've got a ball coming at me and I've got to work on receiving the ball. Don't reach. You want to alligator arm, keep it bent. That's a quicker route to the hand, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to catch, transfer, and separate. Okay, the next drill in the sequence is basically just adding that first step to the transfer and separate. Basically, all I'm trying to do here is get the sequence down to get my transfer ahead of that first step. If I get my first step ahead of the transfer, then everything's thrown off from that point. I want to get the sequence down, transfer, step, and now we're going to go to the next step. Now that we have our first step down after the transfer and separate, we're going to incorporate that second step. Make sure we get in line with second base. That's what we're working on here. Getting in line to second base, transfer, step, step. Notice, the feet did not hit at the same time. The right foot hits before the left foot. Now that we've got all the individual components, we're going to put it all together for the transfer and throw. Now, an extra tool you can use when working on your transfer and shuffle is the medicine ball. What we're going to do is have your partner toss it right in front of the plate, bounce it right up to you. You're going to stay underneath, catch, turn the ball, shuffle your feet. Notice, I gained a little bit of ground forward, but my left foot never went past the plate.